Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma. I'll be guiding you through a pretty fun yoga class today. I actually had a really cool experience yesterday in person. I was getting lunch in Scottsdale with my parents and I ran into one of you, my YouTube followers. It was a pretty cool moment for me that's never happened before. I definitely felt famous, so that was really awesome. I guess it was bound to happen eventually, but yeah, if you see me in person, please say hi. It was super cool, and if you're visiting from out of town, I teach studio classes in Phoenix and Scottsdale, so please reach out to me on Instagram. I'd love to have you in one of my in-person classes. My Instagram is Emma Pigeon Yoga, so pretty easy to find. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started on our backs today. So lie down, just hug your knees in and gently pull down on your shins, and we'll start there. Maybe a little movement side to side. And then take a deep breath. Feel your ribs expand into your thighs. Exhale, almost pulling down on the shins to help push all the air out. Again, breathe in deeply. Exhale completely. You can keep the knees like this, or you could bring the bottoms of your feet together into a Supta Baddha Konasana while we take a few more deep breaths. Breathing deep into the base of your belly, feel your lungs and ribs expand sideways. Exhale, pushing every last drop of air out. Cultivating this connection with your breathing. Something that we'll aim to keep over the course of the next 60 or so minutes. Staying in tune with the rhythm of your breath. If you've taken your knees wide, bring those back together and pull them into your chest. Circle your knees away from each other a few times. And then the knees towards each other. Let's go right ankle over left thigh, figure four pose. You can grab the back of your left leg or keep your left foot on the ground. Flex your right toes and push your right knee a little forward. Imprint your spine into your mat. Little tuck of your chin, lengthen the back of your neck. I'll take the right hand, grab your right foot for half happy baby pose. Start with your left foot on the ground, stamp your right heel to the ceiling. If you're ready for more, you can extend your left leg straight, but be gentle. We haven't really done much yet. Spread your right toes. Again, little tuck of the chin, draw the bottom ribs in. And then we'll guide the right knee across the body into a spinal twist. Feel your outer right hip go forwards, lengthening out your right side body. Right ear to the ground, gazing towards your right hand. One more breath here. We'll bring this back to center, both knees into your chest, and switching. Left ankle over right thigh, figure four. You can grab your leg or put your right foot on the ground. Feel free to rock side to side. Relax the muscles in your face, your jaw. Half happy baby pose, left hand grabbing your left foot. Right foot can be flat on the mat or extended straight. Find that space where you feel sensation but not pain. And keep breathing deeply, feeling that little pause at the top and the bottom of every breath. Spinal twist, left knee over to the right. Feel your left hip go forward as you do this. Maybe getting a few pops or adjustments along the way. Look off to the left in the opposite direction of your knees. You're wringing out your spine. Now bring this back through center. Hug both knees into your chest. Grab the backs of your legs. Start to rock up and down your spine a few times, like 3 or 4. And after your last one, get some momentum. Maybe use your hands. We'll meet in a standing forward fold. So your feet go about the width of your mat. Bend your knees at least a little bit. Arms can be heavy, hands on blocks, or grab your elbows. Find some gentle movement side to side, maybe a sway, some figure 8s with the elbows. Just think about shifting stuck or stagnant energy, spaces that feel sticky or tense, just breathing extra there. Switch your grip if you've got your elbow so the opposite arm is on top. As you breathe in, lengthening out through your sides. As you breathe out, feel your ribs push your thighs back just a tad. Start to breathe with a little bit more sound, pulling the breath in behind your nose. Lips stay sealed on the exhale, Ujjayi Pranayama. Release your arms and we'll crawl the hands off to the right. Great time for blocks if you've got them. Bend your right knee deeply and pull your left hip crease back. And we'll crawl the hands over to the left, little bend left knee, right hip pulling back, breathing down your right side. And come back to center. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Walk yourself back to a plank pose, stacking your shoulders over your wrists. Look near the front of your mat so you're not dropping your head. Pull your hip points forward. Try not to drop your hips. We'll start to draw some clockwise circles with the shoulders over the wrists. Feeling into your finger pads. Keep protracting your shoulders or spreading the shoulder blades apart. And then take those circles in the opposite direction. Try not to dip your hips side to side. Let's shift forward. 5 counts, lower to your belly. 4. Feel free to drop your knees. 3, 2, and we'll meet all the way down onto your belly, tops of the feet down. Inhale, think like a half cobra. So lifting your chest like halfway, still using the strength of your arms, but really squeeze your legs. Use your back muscles. And then lower yourself back down. We'll come up a little bit higher on this next one. Maybe like 3/4 of the way, micro bend in the elbows. Still active legs. Use your spinal muscles. And then we'll lower ourselves back down. Last time, roll yourself up, option to straighten your arms here. Legs still active, but more of a stretch on your waist, your abdomen. Look back over your right shoulder and your left shoulder. Come back through center and find a child's pose. Sink your hips towards your heels, push into your palms. Walk your hands over to the right and bring your right hand back by your right knee. Flip your left palm to face up. Place your left hand at the middle of your upper back or your neck. Press down into your left elbow or tricep to feel a stretch through your armpit. Re-extend your left arm and your right arm. Walk your hands all the way over to the left. Bring your left hand back by your left knee. Forehead down, flip your right palm to face up. Place your right hand at your upper back or neck. Push down into your right elbow or tricep. Keep sinking your right hip back. Re-extend your right arm and your left arm. Walk your hands back to center. Inhale, tabletop. Bump your knees in under your hips. Tuck your toes and find your first downward facing dog. Bend and straighten one leg at a time. As fast or as slow feels good for you. And gradually feel more space in the backs of your legs, calves. Notice if you're holding your breath or rounding your spine. Focus more on straightening your spine, lifting your hips, than making the legs perfectly straight or getting your heels to the ground. Turn up the volume of your breathing. Feet together, lift your right leg up behind you. Bend your right knee, stack your hips open, push your knees away from each other. Either stay here or find some movement in your right leg. We'll square this off, take a breath in. Exhale, crunch your right knee over to your left elbow. See if you can make contact. Inhale, send your right leg back behind you. Crunch your right knee to your right elbow or tricep. Squeeze. Inhale, send your right leg back behind you. Crunch your right knee to your nose. We'll put the right shin down like tabletop, so you might have to scoot it back a tad. Lift your left leg up behind you. Draw your belly button in, then reach your right arm forward. Take a breath in. Exhale, crunch, left elbow to right knee. Inhale, extend and reach. Exhale, crunch and round. One more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, extend. Bend your left knee, reach your right hand back to grab your left foot if you can. If you've got it, kick to the left, pull your left shoulder a little forward. Nudge your right hip over to the left for 3, 2, and 1. Right hand down, drop your left knee behind your right knee. Kick your left foot over to the right. Sink your hips back a bit like Gomukhasana, but it's kind of off-centered. It's all right if that right knee lifts up off the ground. Focus on the stretch you feel in your outer hips. Shift your shoulders forward over your wrists. Left leg behind you with the toes tucked. Spin your right shin to the right and open up to a modified side plank where you'll take some optional circles at the left shoulder joint. Pull your bottom ribs in and firm down the outer edge of your left foot. Pause with your left arm extended, palm facing down, or even the pinky down so you feel your tricep kind of wrapping in towards your face. 3, 2, and 1. We'll sweep this all the way to the back of the mat into a runner's lunge. Spin your right toes behind you and lift your right knee. Prop up onto your fingertips or blocks, and then bend and straighten your legs 3 times here. Pause with your left leg straight or straighter. Your foot can be flat on the ground or flexed. Push your right hip forward, plug your left hip back, squeeze your quadriceps and hug your inner thighs towards the midline. If you've got the space, you can crawl your fingertips a little further forward for 3. Lengthen your spine, your sides, your neck. 2. And 1. Drop your back knee, reach both arms up to a low lunge. When you get there, grab your right wrist or right elbow with the arm bent and lean over to the left. Feel the left heel and the right knee drag towards each other. Pull your front ribs in. 1 more breath. Come back to center, place your hands on the mat, step your right foot up to meet your left foot, facing the back of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise, reach up. Grab your right wrist or elbow again and lean over to your left. Option to step your right foot behind you, little bend in that front knee and nudging your hips to the right if that feels good. Try not to drop your chin towards your chest. Keep your gaze forward. We'll come back to center, regular feet. Cactus, bend your arms and curl back. Scoop your tailbone forward. Make a bind behind your back. Lift your sternum. We'll take a lion's breath in. Tongue out. Inhale, stand. Exhale, fold over your legs. You can always separate your feet a tad here if that feels better for your balance. Inhale's lengthening out the spine. Exhale's folding. Release your bind. Inhale, lift halfway. Step back with your left foot, then your right foot to a plank pose facing the back. Shift forward with or without your knees, lower chaturanga on your exhale. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog, firm your thighs. Exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. Feet together, lift your left leg up behind you. Bend your left knee, stack your hips open. Stay there or move around a bit. Sink your right heel towards the ground and try not to move the right leg too much. We'll square this off. Crunch left knee over to the right elbow. Inhale, left leg up. Left knee to left elbow or tricep. Left leg up. Left knee to nose. You'll put your left shin down, but you have to walk it back a tad so it's more like tabletop. Lift your right leg up behind you. Draw your navel in. Stretch your left arm forward, inhale. Exhale, crunch and round your spine like cat. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. 1 more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, reach. Bend your right knee, reach back. Option to grab your inner foot, kick a little to the right. Pull your sternum forward, steady your breath. You've got 3, 2. Release your left hand. Drop your right knee behind your left knee and kick your right foot to the left. Sink your hips back, a little bit off-centered, but legs like Gomukhasana. Shift your shoulders over your wrists, right leg behind you, toes down. Left shin to the left, open up to a modified side plank. Optional circles at the right shoulder joint. Pause with your right arm extending, firm down the outer edge of your right foot. Draw your ribs in, belly button back. Inhale. Exhale, sweep this around to the front into a runner's lunge. Left shin spins behind you, lift your knee. Prop up onto your fingers or blocks, bend and straighten your legs 3 times. Pause with your right leg straight or straighter. Foot flat or flexed again. Sternum pulling forward. As you do that, can you pull the right hip back into the left? Option to crawl the fingers further forward. Try not to crane your head or drop your head. Look directly down so the spine is neutral for 3. Squeeze your legs 2. And 1. Drop your back knee, reach both arms up, low lunge. Grab your left wrist or bend your elbow and grab the elbow, lean to the right. Hug your outer right hip back and wrap your left ribs a little forward. We'll come back to center, hands to the mat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Inhale, rise. Grab your left wrist or elbow again and lean over to the right. Option to step the left foot behind. Nudge your hips over to the left. Lift your chin off your chest. Come back to center, regular feet. Cactus your arms and curl back. We'll make a bind with the opposite thumb on top. Lift your sternum. Take a lion's breath in. Inhale, stand. Exhale, fold over your legs. Again, feel free to separate your feet. Shake your head, yes. And no. Move your jaw. Release your bind, halfway lift. Step back with your right foot, then your left foot to plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga with or without your knees. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Breathe evenly with sound. Your wrist crease is parallel to the front of your mat. The inner palms are pushing down between thumb and pointer finger. Add a little grip with the finger pads. Hollow your armpits and feel your arms get longer. Notice if you're dumping into your shoulders or your lower back. Feel one straight line from your pinky fingers all the way up through your hip points. And lift your heels, look forward, step or jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, reach up. We'll put this all together. Grab your right wrist or elbow and lean to the left. Back to center. Grab your left wrist or elbow and lean to the right. Back to center, back bend of your choice. Could be cactus arms, hands together, hands to low back. Stand up and fold forward. Halfway lift. Step back or jump back. If you're stepping, you're just alternating which foot goes first to keep things even. Trying to break some of those patterns or those comforts that we don't even notice. Squeeze your quadriceps onto your thigh bones. Feel your kneecaps lift up. Lift your heels, look forward, step or jump to the front. Halfway lift, forward fold. Inhale, rise. One more time, grab your right wrist, lean to your left. Inhale, back to center. Left wrist over to the right. Inhale, center, back bend of your choice. We'll stand up and fold forward. Halfway lift. Step back or jump back, Vinyasa with your exhale. Relax your neck, the muscles in your face. Keeping your hips square, let's lift the right leg up. So you have to push evenly into your palms, push your left thigh bone a little back and feel length on your left side. Step your right foot to your right thumb and spin your back foot flat. Come up, warrior one. Pull your front ribs together. Tug your right hip crease back. Take an inhale, look up. Exhale, hinge forward and sweep your arms back. Squeeze your triceps. Pull your chin towards your throat. Lighten your right toes. Pivot to your left, find a star pose. Reach up. Grab your right wrist and lean over to your left. Nudge your hips towards the front of your mat. We'll come back up to center. Drop your torso down to the right like you're taking a big circle. You'll end up walking this all the way to the back of your mat into a runner's lunge. Widen your stance a tad, and then we'll come up to a high lunge crescent warrior. Put a little bend in your back knee on this first one. Lift your hip points and pull the ribs down. Maybe you work to straighten the right leg and bend your left knee more. Take an inhale. Exhale, both hands to the mat. Step back, chaturanga, facing the back. Inhale, cobra, up dog. Exhale, back to down dog. Lift your left leg, keeping your hips square, foot flexed. So really active and mindful. Nudge your hips a little to the left. Step up to your left thumb, spin your back foot flat. Rise to a warrior one. Bend deep into your left knee, but pull that outer left hip back. Look up, inhale. Exhale, hinge and sweep. Keep sinking into your hips. Firm down the outer edge of your right foot. Open up, star pose, pivot. This time, grab your left wrist and lean to your right. We'll inhale back to center. Drop your torso down to the left like a big circle and then walk it around to the front of your mat, runner's lunge. Widen your stance just a tad and we'll come up to a high lunge crescent warrior with a little bend in the back knee. Feel the outer hips squeeze inwards. Maybe you work to straighten your back leg, but keep pulling your ribs in. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna add on to that just a bit. Inhale, lift your right leg mindfully. Exhale, take a soft step forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, hinge and sweep. Inhale, star pose. Grab your right wrist, lean to your left. Inhale, center. Drop your torso down to the right and then walk it around to the back. Inhale, high lunge, crescent warrior. We're going to add on here and twist open to the left. Really reach back with your left hand so your shoulders are over your hips. Left hand chases your right hamstring as you reach your right arm up. Keep twisting to the left. So it is a bit of a back bend, but also a side body stretch. Then we'll windmill the hands to the mat and step back, Vinyasa. Inhale, cobra, up dog. Exhale to down dog. Lift your left leg, slow. Exhale, step forward. Warrior one, rise. Exhale, hinge and sweep. Inhale, star. Grab your left wrist, lean to your right. Inhale, center. Drop your torso down to the left and then walk it to the front, runner's lunge. Crescent lunge, rise. We're adding on by twisting to the right. Open your arms. Nudge your right hip to the left. Right hand chases the left hamstring. Keep twisting to the right. Open up that left side. And windmill both hands down. Step back, Vinyasa. We'll add on one final time to this sequence. Inhale, right leg lift. Exhale, step. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, hinge and sweep. Inhale, star. Grab right wrist, lean left. Inhale, center. Drop your torso down to the right and walk it to the back. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, right arm up. This time, just the right hand down, twisting. Be light in your right hand to start. Let the effort be in your legs. And then start to transfer some weight to that right shoulder. Roll to the outer edge of your right foot. You'll step back to either side plank on the right, stacking your legs, or wild thing, stepping your left foot behind you. Either way, stack your right shoulder over your right wrist. 3, 2, and 1. Flip yourself around, chaturanga. Inhale up. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Left side, inhale, lift your leg. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, hinge and sweep. Inhale, star pose. Grab your left wrist and lean to your right. Inhale, center. Torso down to the left and walk it to the front, runner. Inhale, crescent lunge, rise, facing the front. Exhale, twist open to your right. Right hand to the left hamstring, reach your left arm up. Now again, left hand goes down. Start with the effort in your legs. Brace your core. Transfer some weight into that left hand and shoulder. Step back, either side plank on the left or wild thing. Either way, firm down the outer edge of your left foot. 3, 2, and 1. Flip this around, chaturanga. Inhale up. Exhale to child's pose. You could also take a resting shape like reclining hero's pose, bringing the knees together, the feet apart, moving your calves out of the way, and if that feels all right on your knees, you could even drop it back. Lie down onto the shoulders, the back of the skull, maybe even grabbing opposite elbows overhead. Never pushing this shape to the point of pain, but think about hugging the knees towards each other and pushing them down. Wherever you choose to rest, make your breath a priority. Feeling that pause at the top and the bottom, just like we focused on in the beginning. Last two. And one. From wherever you are, begin to make your way back towards downward facing dog. Take your time. Let's take a nice big breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Step your right foot forward, back foot flat, find another warrior one. This time, bind your hands behind your back. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your chin. Exhale, humble warrior, drop inside of your right leg. Swing your hips a little to the left. Use your right shoulder to push your right knee to the right. Firm down the outer edge of your left foot like you're trying to lift the arch. And then can you get even lighter in your right toes? Notice if you're holding your breath here, you've got 3. 2. 1, release your bind. Take this to the back of the mat, Skandasana, flying monkey pose. You may need to widen your stance. Flex your right foot so the toes point up. Try to get this left heel to the ground. You can use your hands and lift your hips if you need to. Avoid rounding your back, push your lower back in. From here, right hand either grabbing your shin or peace sign fingers grabbing the big toe. Reach your left arm to the left. Squeeze your outer hips back to help externally rotate your thighs for 3. 2. And 1. Let's flip this around to the back of the mat. Briefly straighten your left leg like we did in the beginning of class. Flex your foot, feel that nice stretch through your left calf. And then we'll bend the left knee and come up to a high lunge crescent warrior, facing the back of your mat. Bring your left hand to your left hip here. Steady your gaze on one spot out in front of you. Shift forward, capture your right knee or big toe out in front of you. Try to lift your foot maybe even higher than hip height, but don't lift your right hip higher than your left hip. Plug your right shoulder back into the socket. With the big toe or the knee, foot flex, take your right leg out to the right by scooping your right glute underneath you and kicking your right inner heel forward. Again, try not to lift your right hip higher than your left hip. Pull your front ribs in. Option to gaze off to the left for 3. 2. 1. Bring your right leg back to center. Reach up, float your leg. Squeeze your upper quadriceps and your low belly for 3. 2. 1. Sweeping step back with your right foot, arms wide. Turn all 10 toes to the long edge of your mat. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Reach for your ankles or your big toes. Squeeze your legs and tip your weight forward. Hug your ankle bones in. Last 2. Inhale, halfway lift. Turn your right toes out to the front of your mat. Walk your right hand inside your right foot, hand to block, or prop your elbow up on your thigh for side angle pose. Push your right knee to the right and scoop your right glute underneath you. Start with the left arm reaching up. Firm down the outer edge of your left foot, again like you're trying to lift the arch. Stay there or extend your top arm. Pull your front ribs in. And again, you're trying to wrap that left tricep towards your face for 3. Lighter right toes, 2. And 1. Come up, 2 straight legs. You might like to shorten your stance. Reverse triangle. Inner left thigh pushing towards the right heel. Triangle pose. Reach forward and down. Grab your right shin, block, or big toe. If you start to round your spine, walk your hand up a little bit higher. Firm your thighs. Try to pull your navel back and in. You can stay here or again, extending your top arm with the palm or pinky down. 3. 2. Half moon pose, 1. Bump your right hand forward. Don't let your right toes change direction. They're still pointing to the front of the mat. Press down with the ball of your right foot. Feel your inner thigh roll forward. Squeeze your glutes together to help stack your hips. And push your hips over towards the left side of your mat. If you want to challenge here, see if you can float your right fingers off the ground for 3. 2. And 1. Bend your right knee, step back, warrior 2. 1 breath, reverse warrior. Windmill your hands to your mat. Send your right leg high behind you into 3-leg downward dog. Bend your knees, stack your hips open. Either stay there or shift forward and flip it over to wild thing. You could also challenge yourself here by floating your right foot in wild thing, more like a side plank for 3. Still curling back for 2. And slow flipping around for pigeon pose on the right side. Right knee slightly outside the wrist. You can wiggle your foot back. Point your left toes back behind you, and when you're ready, drop down. Level out the weight in your pelvis. Pull your right hip back a tad. Last 3. Walk your hands back towards you. Let's slide the right knee directly between the thumbs, your left knee up behind your right knee. Kick your feet away from each other and take a seat back into Gomukhasana. And then if things aren't stacked the way you like them, you can always shift forward, kind of push your knees to stack more, and then sit back again. Try to get this right sitting bone on the ground and sit up as tall as you can. I like to grab the feet just so that they don't move forward. If you don't feel a lot of a stretch here, you can hinge forward, but I find that most of the general population is going to feel enough intensity just right here. Avoid rounding your back, sit up tall. Breathe for 3. 2. And 1. You'll start to walk your hands to the left. Lift your hips. We're going to meet in a yogi squat facing the back of the mat. So you just kind of lift your hips and flip around. You might have to adjust your feet a tad. Use your elbows to push your knees outwards and your low back in. This should feel pretty nice. After that Gomukhasana, you've got 3. Push your low back in, lift the back of your skull. 2. And 1. We'll fold forward, wiggle your feet in about hip distance. Take your peace sign fingers and grab your big toes. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Feel free to keep a bend in your knees. Tip your weight forward so the hips are over the heels instead of behind the heels. Focus on your exhale for 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, release your hands. We'll walk this out to a plank pose and lower down chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. All right, we've got the left side. Step your left foot forward towards your left thumb, spin your back foot flat, and rise to a warrior 1. Interlace your hands behind your back. Opposite grip if you remember. Inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, dive, humble warrior inside of your left leg. Swing your hips a little to your right. Check back in on your breath. Engage your legs. Last 2. And 1. Release your grip. Take this to the front of your mat into Skandasana. Feel free to widen your stance and use your hands here. We want this right heel going down, and it's okay if your hips are up here. Focus on externally rotating this left thigh, and maybe over time you sit lower, maybe not. It's a lot of flexion at your ankle joint, so lifting the hips can take some of that flexion out. From here, left hand can grab your left shin or peace sign fingers to the big toe. Reach your right hand away, spread your collarbones. 3. Squeeze your outer hips back. 2. And 1, we'll flip this around to the front of the mat, runner's lunge. Briefly straighten your right leg like we did in the beginning, flex your foot. Rebend your right knee, come up to a high lunge crescent warrior. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Capture your left knee or big toe out in front of you and stand up tall. You can lift your foot higher than your hip, but try not to lift your left hip higher than your right hip. Steady your gaze and then take your left leg to the left with the knee or the big toe. Scoop your left glute underneath you. Press the ball of your right foot down. Keep flexing your left foot, option to gaze off to the right for 3, 2, 1. Bring your right leg back to center, reach your arms up, float it there. Try to keep your foot at hip height for 3. You can lean your shoulders forward, squeeze your low belly. 2, 1. Swing your left foot back, turn to face the long edge of your mat. This time make a bind behind your back. All 10 toes point in the same direction. Inhale. Exhale, fold, squeeze. If you don't like the bind or the shoulder stretch, feel free to swap it out for something else. Again, try not to shift your hips back. I know it feels like you can fold more, but you want to tip your hips forward so they're kind of in line with the heels. You're not gripping into the toes, but they're not lifted either. 3, 2, 1. Release your bind, halfway lift. Turn your left toes out to the back of your mat. Walk your left hand inside your left foot or elbow to your thigh. Side angle pose. Push your left knee to the left. Squeeze your outer left hip back. Firm down the outer edge of your right foot. Start with the right arm reaching up. If you want to extend it, palm or pinky down, and just notice if you start to flare the ribs when you do that. Pull the front ribs in, the belly button back. 3, 2, 1, 2 straight legs, reverse triangle. Feel free to shorten your stance. Inner right thigh towards the left heel. Back to center, triangle pose. Shift and then go down. Squeeze your legs. Remember, it's not about how far you go down, it's about keeping the integrity of the pose. So try not to round your back, reach your hands away from each other. Option to extend your top arm. Left shoulder back, ribs in, firm your thighs. So you almost want to feel like the thigh muscles are hugging the bones. Look down, half moon pose. Try not to let your left toes change direction. Squeeze your glutes together, roll your hips open. Keep your gaze at one spot and engage your lifted leg as much as your standing leg. If you want that extra challenge here, try to float your left fingers off the ground by reaching up with your right hand like you could touch the ceiling for 3, 2, and 1. Take a slow step back to warrior 2. 1 breath, reverse. Windmill your hands and send your left leg high behind you. 3-leg downward dog. Bend your knees, stack your hips. Stay, shift to wild or almost wild thing, floating your left toes off the ground while pushing the hips towards the right side of your mat like wild thing for 3. Still curling back, 2. And slow flipping around to pigeon pose. Check your right leg alignment, toes point back, and drop down when you're ready. Feel a little tug back of the left hip crease. Soften the muscles in your face and your jaw. Three more breaths here. Walk your hands back to you. Slide your left knee between your thumbs. Right knee up behind your left knee. Kick your feet away from each other to make space for your sitting bones to sit back inside your feet. Again, you can always shift forward, push the knees more over each other as long as it's not painful. Sit up tall, option to grab the feet, low back in, lift the crown of your head. Keep sinking your left sitting bone towards the ground. So I think it kind of helps to shift the weight a little left. We'll walk the hands over to the right, lift your hips, meet in a yogi squat facing the front. Feel free to adjust your feet. It should feel pretty nice. Knees going wide, light toes. And then we'll fold forward. Wiggle your feet in hip distance. Padahastasana. Slide your hands underneath your feet. Toes to the wrist crease. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Option to keep a bend in the knees, but shift your weight forward towards your toes. So again, that helps to bring the hips over the heels so they're not behind the heels. Squeeze the front of your legs and your low belly for 3. Relax your neck, 2. 1, release, halfway lift, and fold. Walk yourself out to your last vinyasa. Inhale up. Exhale to down dog. Look forward, step or jump through to a seat. We'll go Navasana, boat pose. Parallel your shins with the ground or straighten your legs. Avoid rounding your back, lift your sternum. Plug your shoulders back, push your low back in for 5. Look towards your toes, 4, 3, 2, last breath. Slow lower, low back to the ground, keep legs floating, push your spine down. Option to reach your arms overhead, last 3. Ribs pull down, 2. Last breath. Relax onto the ground. Take a full body stretch, reach your arms, extend your legs. Hug your knees into your chest. Feet flat, bridge pose. Scoop your tailbone a bit, lift your hips. Squeeze your glutes like 50 or 60%. So as much as you're using the backside of your body, also think about this as a stretch for your hip flexors. Push your knees forward, your chest backwards. 3, 2, 1, lower your hips down, take a breath. We'll just do one more back bend. Could be bridge with a bind, or upward bow. If you're going upward bow, think down dog with your shoulders. So you want to feel a spread of the shoulder blades, press down on your inner palms, lift up when you're ready. So that just helps you to feel a little bit less tension in the upper back, the neck area, when your head hangs heavy. Same thing when we do fish pose. I know it feels counterintuitive, like in a back bend you should squeeze the shoulder blades together, but this actually helps to create more space for your neck. Make sure your toes point forward for 3, 2, 1. Tuck your chin, bend your elbows, lower yourself down and pull your knees in. Happy baby pose, spine flat on the ground, maybe a rock side to side. You could straighten one leg at a time if that feels good. Slight tuck of your chin, whole spine on the mat. Take the right peace sign fingers to the right big toe. Take your right leg straight up. Left leg goes long in front of you. Plug your right shoulder down to the ground. Same thing that we do standing, but now you obviously don't have the balance aspect of it. Stamp your right heel up towards the ceiling. And then we'll bend the knee, grab the knee with the left hand, spinal twist. If you want a little bit more, you can bend your left knee, reach your right hand down to grab your inner left foot for that quad stretch. Release the left foot if you've got it. Unwind onto your back. Hug your knees in. Left leg up. Take your peace sign fingers. Grab your big toe. You can also grab behind your calf or your knee. Plug your left shoulder down. A strap would be great as well. Think about that left outer hip going forward. So that's what I mean when I say when we're standing, like don't let your left hip lift higher than your right hip. You can feel it more on your back here, that bunching up on the left side. So here you can feel the left outer thigh going forward. All right, we'll bend the left knee, guide this over to the right. Option to add on by bending your right knee, reach down with the left hand. Release your right foot. Unwind onto your back, hug your knees in. When you're ready, extend your legs straight, toes flopping out, arms by your side or any other comfortable shape. Soften your palms and forearms, relax the muscles in your face. Shoulders flat. Could even wiggle your head back so the neck feels a little flatter, like you have more space. Soften your physical body, soften your energy. Take one more breath in and let it go. Shavasana. Take a deep breath in and out. Stretch your arms overhead when you're ready. And hug your knees in. Roll to your right or left side. And then use your arms to push yourself up to a seated position, eyes closed. Spend a few moments just present with your breathing. And bring your hands to your heart. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. The intricacies of your breath that you don't often think about. We'll take one final breath together in. Exhale, sigh. Om Shanti, Om Peace. Namaste. Thank you for choosing to practice with me. I know there are lots of options out there, so I want to extend a genuine thank you for choosing my channel and my classes. If you like them, give them a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. There is a link to donate if you want to help support my channel, but it is never required, always appreciated. Again, if you're ever in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, please reach out to me on Instagram. I'd love to have you in a class. And if you're interested in going on a retreat or working together one-on-one, you can find all of that information on my website. Hopefully I'll see you back next week.